so much for watching today. We are in a series called Big Picture. We're talking through the story of Joseph, but we're also looking at our lives today and kind of comparing the two and how we can learn something from what this guy that lived, 4,000 years ago endured and went through in his life. And we're talking about how so often we get caught up in the moments of each day that we don't think long term. And maybe even we get caught up in today or tomorrow or a week from now, but we don't think, hey, how is this going to impact my future? How is this going to look in the next couple years, or as I grow up and go to college, or I start a family, or when I'm older, what impact is that having? What impact is that decision or this action having in my life long term? And we talked about last week that Joseph lost sight of, and his brothers lost sight of, and his dad lost sight of the impact that some decisions have on our family. And that we need to make sure that we're thinking about and thinking through the impact that our decisions, our actions have on our family, the value that you have, even as a teenager, in the life of your family. How important you are, how vital you are to your parents, to your grandparents, to your siblings, to the people that you call your family. Well, as we jump into this today, I want you to think about the greatest loss that you've ever experienced. I don't know what that is for you. Maybe it is the loss of somebody. Maybe it's the loss of a situation or a place. I don't know what that is for you. But there were a couple things that I thought of when I read that question and I thought through what were the greatest losses in my life. I've endured a few. Nothing too major. I've had a pretty nice life. I haven't experienced much difficulty, I would say. I've lost a grandmother. I've lost a great aunt that I was really close to. Those are the losses that I think of when I think of the people that I've lost. But, I've lost some things that weren't people, and they're kind of hard to explain, but I think maybe you can relate to it. When I went to college, I experienced a real sadness in this situation changing, in me moving away and being away from my family, being away from what I knew and what was normal. It felt like I lost something. I remember that being a time where I was sad, and I thought about what I had in high school or in middle school, and I was sad. It felt like I had lost something. I think about Ashley and I early on in our marriage. We had lived somewhere, and we went through a really difficult season that it felt like a season of loss, and it was hard that we had lost a lot. We had lost our family being close by. We had lost even some hopes and some dreams that we had for ourselves, and it was difficult, y'all. It was hard. And I'm sure that you've experienced some sort of loss in your life. And as I say that and I ask that question, you're thinking of something. And I want to say this, that, man, I feel like life is full of losses, but it's also full of wins. Sometimes it can feel like a roller coaster, or seasons of like, hey, things are going really, really good. It seems like everything is happening good. We're winning a lot of things, as we would probably call it. And then something happens that's not so good, and we go through this series of what feels like a bunch of losses. And I don't want to be a downer today, okay? That's not what this video is about. But I do want to let you know, and I want to help you understand that your life is going to be full of ups and downs. It's going to be full of wins and losses. There's going to be moments of real despair, but there are going to be some moments of pure joy and pure bliss and just greatness as well. And the people that we read about, the stories that we see in the Bible, they're no different than what we face today. They endured a lot of great things. They endured a lot of hard things as well. And I don't want us to get wrapped up in our momentary losses or even our momentary wins, that we don't see the big picture. That's what this whole series is about. Is thinking bigger than just what's happening right now, and seeing what's happening way down the road. What's happening when you're older, when you have your own family? What's happening as you choose your career? Like, what does it look like more than a week away from today? What does it look like years down the road? How is this affecting my future? And in the book of Genesis, we see the story of Joseph, the guy we're talking about. It's one of my favorite stories because Joseph's life was much like ours. It had some ups, it had some downs, it had some good, it had some bad, but through it all, we see something that's very consistent. Listen to what it says in Genesis chapter 37, verse 18. It says, they saw him in the distance, and before he reached them, they plotted to kill him. Now this is talking about his brothers. They see him off in the distance, and they say, we are going to kill him. They're so angry because of, remember that jacket, that robe that his dad had given him, and it had built this resentment that they had towards him, and he had explained this dream that he saw them bowing down to him, and it just built up anger. And all of these people in this family are being affected by some really narrow-mindedness, just thinking right now, not thinking long-term of the effects of their decisions. And it goes on and it says in verses 23 and 24, so when Joseph came to his brothers, they stripped him of his robe, the ornate robe he was wearing, and they took him and threw him in the cistern. The cistern was empty. There was no water in it. And through this, what we see is that Joseph actually ends up being sold into slavery. His brothers sell him instead of kill him, that's kind of a win in the midst of a loss. But they decide, hey, we won't kill him. One of the brothers speaks up and they sell him. And he goes through, and I'm not going to tell you all the details because we're going to go through that over the next few videos that you're going to watch. But he goes through and endures quite a bit more difficulty and successes. But through it all, there's something that's consistent. It says this in chapter 39 of Genesis, the very beginning, starting in verse 2. It says, the Lord was with Joseph. Now, I want to encourage you with this today. No matter where you find yourself, whether you're in a season of loss, or you've had a bunch of wins lately, God is with you in the middle of all of those. And I think July 2020, we've been through a lot so far. And it probably feels like we've been through more losses than we have wins as we kind of think about these past few months. I know for me, the past few months have been difficult. I've been sad because summer brings with it some of my favorite memories with our 412 kids, with our 412 family. We get to do things like camp or missions trips. We get to hang out and put on Vacation Bible School for the kids that are growing up in our church. And we haven't gotten to do those things. We haven't gotten to have youth group normal in over 4 months. And things have been difficult. I've been sad. If I can be honest, it feels like I've been in a season of loss. And I'm sure you feel the same way. You've lost out on trips. You've lost out on school, on sports. You've lost out on a lot. And it can be easy to get wrapped up and so consumed in that we don't see and understand that God is with us through it all. It's not saying that the losses haven't happened or won't happen, but it's saying that we're not going through it alone. Just like God was with Joseph in the midst of the good and the bad that he endured, he's with you through the good and the bad that you are enduring and going to go through. Because what I believe is, even though our world is going through this difficult time, that there will be something good that will come out of this. I've tried to encourage and remind myself, like, hey, this is not going to end everything. This is going to end in something good happening. Something good can come of this. I mentioned the season that Ashley and I went through. It took a few years even for us to be able to look back and say, hey, some good even came out of a season of loss. There was some good that happened, even though in the middle of it, it was difficult, it was hard. God was still there. We were still able to endure, and we were still able to experience some things, and we wouldn't be where we are today had we not endured that season of loss. There are some things in your life that you won't be able to experience or get to unless you experience a season of loss. And it may be difficult while you go through it, but God is with you through it all because God wants good for you. God has a plan for you, and he wants you to experience it. And sometimes that means things will have to be gone out of your life in order for you to get there. And so I want to encourage you that you're going to go through seasons. of loss. You're going to go through seasons of wins. You're going to go through seasons where you feel like God is nowhere close, but don't believe that lie. God is with you no matter where you find yourself. And so when you can't see the bigger picture, when you just can't, you're so blinded by right now, I want you to be reminded that God is with you. Think about him and know that he is right there with you through it all. You're going to face some good things. You're going to face some bad things. You're going to face some easy things, some difficult things in your life. And God will be with you through them all. I want to encourage you to make sure that even in this season, don't just get so consumed with what you're seeing right now that you lose sight that God has a future for you. And that there will be something that comes out of this that could be great. And hopefully, God can work through your life and he can change your life even in this season. I appreciate you taking a few minutes to spend with me today. I ask you to just take a minute, like, share, subscribe. I'll see you again soon.